In 2009, Dwyane Wade was Jordan-esque. This is a word that should be used sparingly. There are very few players who are capable of playing to those lofty standards, but for one glorious season, Dwyane Wade was worthy of those comparisons. It was record-breaking in every sense of the word. I can remember how the NBA world was reacting after he carried the Miami Heat to his first championship in 2006. He was named Sports Illustrated Player of the Year for his dominant play during that playoff run. We were quick to crown him the best player in the world. We were excited to see how he would follow up on such a legendary performance. However, the Dwyane Wade show was quickly cancelled due to a series of injuries. He played exactly 51 games in each of the following 2 seasons. The worst moment of his career came in 2008. The Heat had a 15-67 record and they went 10-41 when Dwyane was on the court. The player that was being compared to Michael Jordan was now being compared to Penny Hardaway for all the wrong reasons. It seemed like injuries were going to shorten his career and we feared that we'd seen the best of him. We should have known better than to doubt him. He returned to playing the best basketball of his career. He recorded his best numbers in various statistical categories. Let's start with his per-game numbers. He averaged 30.2 points on 49% shooting, 7.5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2.2 steals, and 1.3 blocks per game. This is only the 3rd time in league history that a player has averaged over 30 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. He's in the same company as Michael Jordan and James Harden. He's also only one of 4 guards to ever average over 2 steals and 1 block per game. That list includes Michael Jordan, Ron Harper, and Eddie Jones. But it wasn't just his per-game numbers that were historic. He also did something that proves how legendary an all-around player he was. He is still the only one to have ever recorded at least 2,000 points, 500 assists, 150 steals, and 100 blocks in a single season. He excelled in every aspect of the game. He had to be an all-purpose guard out of necessity. That's especially the case when you look at the roster of that team. You'll quickly notice that only one player was remaining from their 2006 title team. That was Udonis Haslem. Everybody else was gone. Right in the middle of his prime, the Heat were forced to rebuild. They had a rookie who was their starting point guard, Mario Chalmers. They also relied a lot on rookie Michael Beasley on offense. In fact, he was the team's 2nd leading scorer. For the majority of the season, he was coming off the bench. Then there was Shawn Marion. He was brought in the middle of the previous season in a blockbuster trade that sent Shaquille O'Neal to the Phoenix Suns. In theory, he was going to bring depth and lead the charge on defense. However, he averaged the least amount of points and rebounds since his rookie year. He admitted that this wasn't the right fit for him. He was traded in the middle of this season for Jermaine O'Neal. Before he came along, their starting center at times was Joel Anthony, who was averaging only 2.2 points per game. They needed a rim protector and someone who could provide scoring in the post. Jermaine was a temporary fix for a roster that had a lot of holes. The success of this team was going to start and end with Dwyane Wade. The way he carried the Miami Heat should be widely recognized as one of the greatest carry jobs in league history. The advanced metrics certainly back up that statement. He recorded a 9.6 value over replacement player rating, which is currently the 20th highest for a single season. By all accounts, this was Wade at his apex. He recorded career highs in points, assists, steals, blocks, win shares, offensive win shares, PER, value over replacement player rating, box plus minus, offensive box plus minus, and defensive box plus minus. He was also the scoring champion that season. That specific accolade highlights how far he had come as a scorer. For years, teams would dare him to score from the perimeter, but now he could consistently score from the outside. If you look at his shooting numbers, his percentage increased significantly from 10 feet and beyond. He was now making teams pay for giving him too much space. In return, that opened up the floor for one of the most explosive players in the league. The injuries did not slow him down in that aspect, and he was able to provide some of the greatest highlight reels. But scoring was only the beginning of how special his game was. His most underrated trait might have been his playmaking abilities. He was always looking for opportunities to set up his teammates. He recognized how much attention he would draw whenever he penetrated to the rim. He was great at finding easy scoring opportunities for his team. There were 2 games where he tied his career high in assists. He posted 16 assists twice. By the end of the season, he finished 8th in the league in assists. But one aspect of the game that he gets plenty of recognition for is his defense. He was arguably the best two-way player in the league, as he finished 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He also finished 2nd in steals and 18th in blocks, easily the most by any guard that season. When he was on the floor, nobody was safe from getting rejected. The one game that comes to mind came against the New Jersey Nets when he had 2 blocks in the final minute, including when he blocked the 7-1 Brook Lopez. There was another performance he had that put him in rare territory. Against the Toronto Raptors, he had 40 points on 53% shooting and 5 blocks. This is only the 8th time in league history that a non-big man was able to record over 40 points and 5 blocks in a game. He is up there with 2 of the greatest two-way players, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. But if we're talking notable games, there are many more that we can mention that truly highlight how incredible he was that year. There are 3 total games where he scored over 50 points. His season high came in the final game of the year against the New York Knicks. He posted 55 points on 63% shooting, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 block. He was going to make sure that he won the scoring title. Then there was a triple overtime thriller against the Utah Jazz, where he nearly posted a 50-point triple-double. He recorded the insane stat line of 50 points on 49% shooting, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. It's a perfect example of everything he had to do for his team to win games. That includes his clutch play. He led the league in fourth quarter points that season. There are 23 games where he scored over 10 points in the final period, but what he did against the Knicks was iconic. They were down 15 points at the start of the fourth quarter, and he proceeded to score 24 points in the final period. The Miami Heat ended up winning the game by another monster performance. He had 46 points on 55% shooting, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, and 4 blocks. Once again, he was doing everything in his power for his team to win games. But if we're talking clutch performances, that we have to mention was widely considered one of his most memorable moments. It was when he faced the Chicago Bulls. His team was down 10 points in the fourth quarter, and he did this.
It's alive, baby. That's 16 straight games with a block.
James! Guarded by Salmons. He shoots the 3 for the tie. You better believe it. Game-saving play on defense. Moon with a dunk. Comes Wade, circles in, lobs it for Beasley. A crusher.
After he didn't have it,
Here he comes.
4-second clock.
Wade for the score.
Good matchup right here for the Heat.
Salmons.
There's
Wade with a steal with 2. Wade puts it up for the win.
Yeah,
He
baby!
did it. He did it. Dwyane Wade with the steal and the game winner.
Do you believe that?
This is the moment that Heat fans will remember forever. This was his house, and he was going to do everything in his power to fight for the city and organization. It's why he's the most beloved player the team has ever had. He ended the game with 48 points on 71% shooting, 12 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. When it was all said and done, he led his team to a 43-39 record. Fortunately for him, they played in a conference where it didn't take much to make the playoffs. Even though they only finished 2 games over 500, they finished as the 5th seed. The Miami Heat had one of the best players in the world, and that was good enough for them to win over half their games. There is no question that he had one of the greatest regular seasons in league history. However, he only finished 3rd in MVP voting. He was competing against 2 of the greatest players ever, LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. Kobe wasn't as dominant individually, but he led his team to 65 victories. Then there was LeBron, who was at the peak of his powers. From a statistical standpoint, you can easily make the case that this was the greatest regular season of his career. To top it all off, he led his team to 66 victories. The sad truth is that Dwyane Wade peaked at the wrong time. In almost every other season, he would have won the MVP. Unfortunately, he joins a small group of legendary players who never won the MVP because of how tough their competition was. But this was the least of his worries. It was time to focus on the tough road ahead. They're going to face the Atlanta Hawks in the first round, the team that they only beat once in the regular season. Game 1 was an indication of how this series was going to go. They lost 90-64. Every single game was decided by over double digits. Dwyane Wade knew that he was going to have to play at a level he's never had before if they're going to beat this team. Unsurprisingly, he did exactly that in the next 2 games. He scored 33 points on 55% shooting, which included going 6 of 10 from the 3. That is tied for his career high in 3-pointers made. In Game 3, he made a conscious effort to get everyone else going and to do all the little things to win. It worked to perfection as all 5 starters scored in double figures. Wade ended up with 29 points on 48% shooting, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 1 steal. They won the game by 29 points. It started to look like that he could pull off this upset. However, things started to look ugly. They couldn't get anything going in Game 4, and they blew their best opportunity to put away the Hawks. By Game 5, all momentum was completely shifted to Atlanta's favor. It was clear that their depth was going to be too much to handle. To make matters worse, they were going to be without Jermaine O'Neal for the rest of the series. He suffered a concussion in Game 5. It was going to take a superhero-type effort if they were going to win the next 2 games. That is when the Flash emerged in Game 6. He attacked the defense over and over again. He had his best performance in the playoffs. He had 41 points on 48% shooting. We all knew that he wasn't going to be taken down without a fight. But without their second best player, there was no way that they were going to win Game 7 on the road. The Hawks were going to force anyone else to beat them. They simply didn't have the talent necessary to win in the playoffs. They lost by 13 points. It was a bitter end to his greatest individual season. But this doesn't take away from what he accomplished. With everything that we know now about this team, it was incredible that they were able to reach the playoffs in the first place. They went from being a lottery team in 2008 to being the 5th seed in the very next year. That was all thanks to Dwyane Wade. This season is the ultimate testament that he is unquestionably one of the NBA's greatest players. But what about you all? What do you remember the most from this season? Do you think he should have won the MVP? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.